The heat shines in the south. We have shed the green leaves of springtime and now wear the brown ones of summer, losing flight for some days in the process. I have not felt whole for a year and 20 days now, nor eaten a worm or a tadpole that did not taste of death, slow death, that creeps up the roots of the grasses. Radiation. Yi Ling and Ray lost their feathers in their flight. I had to leave them in the cold of Lake Washington with the greed we had known since we were ducklings. I had 6 wings, and now I have 2. We had always been 3 since the first water end. I had felt their downs pressed to my side. From then on, pairing off each spring, Ling and I had our first. Ling and Ray had their second. Ray and I were lovers in our third. No ducklings, but no white man came with a shotgun or a camera to take our bodies or our souls away. And nobody without feathers was to know. When Mother and Father didn't return from Lake Washington, I said goodbye to Ling and Ray. The heat had worsened and scorched the grass from the dry ground, and with it, the food we ate. It's time, I told them. And Ling gave me a feather she had kept for a year. Don't drop it, she said. And Ray gave me one from his last eclipse. It was brown and oily. So it is. 3 souls bound wingtip to wingtip. And for us to live, I must carry their incorporeal realities into the void. The humans, for all their guns and cell phones and bombs, never completely unearthed the tectonics of the soul before they obliterated themselves. They were monos, occasionally bipartite, but less often than they imagined. Ducks come into the world bound in 3s. Just as 2 bodies can accomplish what one cannot, 3 souls in concert can exert what humans have naively termed magic. But it is only a physics of the material world, just like swimming, just like flying. One day I will tell you about the time I flew into a hurricane. Anyway, I took the feathers into my mouth and flew up. Ling and Ray starved for a week to feed me for this trip. The sky is full of ghosts. Mother once said, "Stay away from clouds unless you want to meet your ancestors." And she meant, of course, that the cold and rip currents would send a young duck to their death. But we also all know that there are spirits in the water vapor. I had never been so tired. I had never been so alone and weary with grief, and with each stroke of my wings, the feathers in my mouth doubled in weight, pulling me toward the ground, and my flapping muscles screamed with effort that shook me from head to foot. I almost opened my mouth once and let the precious feathers fall into the sky. But still, I climbed, first through the weather clouds, then across the frosty desert of the stratosphere, pulling up and up and up, holding my bill shut fast against the tearing winds, and the urge to scream or sob. I kept warm with thoughts of my two partners, sitting in the shade by the lake, waiting for their final release. Soon, I thought, and I also thought, I cannot fail in this, for their souls were riding piggyback on mine. There is nothing heavier than responsibility when you're trying to fly. And though I wanted only to return to their warm presence by the shore, with each freezing breath I pulled one more flap out of my dying body. Soon the top of the sky morphed into a depthless blue, then black. The air was so thin that even my altitude sense stopped being able to tell if I was going up or down. A huge dark fear clamped on my chest. Through the rainbow spots of asphyxia, I could see the frosty wisp of serious clouds coming down on me. Too late, I thought, because my body knew with certainty a born instinct that I was dying. And there were uncontrollable tears that froze into snowflakes and blew away on the trade winds for my beloveds by the lake. In an instant, I felt weeks of starvation and despair, and I lost consciousness. I guess you know this story has something of a foregone conclusion, since I'm here telling it to you. A kaleidoscope of feathers reached out to me from the clouds. The sound of a flock of thousands taking off from the bay appeared as a thunder of smells and colors, the glowing purple of lynx tail feathers and the salty warmth of the Pacific in midsummer. Only the resonating chamber of my soul that had held my partners prevented me from losing myself. It was empty. It was empty. I thought, this is death. And the weight of that emptiness suddenly became attached to my legs and wings, and I fell, small and lost and alone, into the universe. And as I shed my body, I felt it all fall away like white feathers onto the shore of Lake Washington. And voices surrounded my tiny, glowing self, singing the lullaby that my parents sang, and my parents' parents.
In the Christian's Bible, the first thing that happens is God, darkness, and words. Later on comes water, birds, and spirits. That is one story of creation. My story begins with water, birds, and spirits, and gets to words, darkness, and God later. When the world began, every part of the universe was an unending sea. It had not been one moment, and the next moment it had always been. Time infinitely in the past is different time from time now. And the spirit hovered over the water. Again, they had just begun to always have been there. And there was a shimmering that had begun to never have a beginning. The spirit was the water, and was of the water, and was above the water. The shimmering spread into every part of their body, filling them with sensation. In the beginning, everything was body. And there was a part of that body that was the fine edge of the shimmering as it spread, and knew all of the universe through its travel. And it curled itself into spirals and circles and feathers, and separated itself from the spirit. It said, I am they who have changed and traveled across the universe, and it was the first division of knowledge.
Sleep, little feather. Sleep, little feather. Sleep while you are not alone. Sleep, little bird. Sleep, little bird. When the grass is green, I will carry you home. Sleep, little feather. Sleep, little feather. Sleep until your wings all grow. Fly, little bird. Fly, little bird. When the grass is dead, you will carry me home.